So I won the mulch lottery. Literally, when I was just finishing up in the morning, picking off all the last of the things that I brought in the trailer for making mulch, I got a phone call from my brother that he found a huge pile of mulch, and I ended up going back with him and getting 2 more trailerfuls full of like this awesome mulch. And we got 2 for him and 2 for me, so there were like 4 trailerfuls of mulch. And you can really see that this is really good quality here. You can see that it contained all the leaves and stuff. It's already starting to break down. It's really nice stuff. So it's just basically like finding gold. And we talked to the person who had put it down. They were like happy that we were taking it. So yeah, it was just really awesome, and I'm really happy. So now we're going to start putting this down into the garden beds. Hey everybody, welcome back to Conscientious Omnivore. My name is Pal. Today's video I just want to talk a little bit about the garden and mulch and what's it got to do with winning the lottery, and also give you guys a little bit of an updated kind of benefits of quitting my job kind of video. So you know, basically, like I said at the start here, I really do kind of feel like I won the lottery, because finding just that huge pile of mulch came in so handy. You know, my brother and I both got a really good portion of mulch. As you can see, I was able to cover a pretty good sized bed with it, and I'll still be able to, you know, grind up all the other material and hopefully make good use of that as well throughout the garden. But you know, the way I really look at it is that this is just one of the many benefits I've had of being able to quit my job, is that I've been able to make use of resources like this. Basically, it was, I mean, I won't say it was free, because it did cost me some money. I had to rent a trailer, and it did cost me time, because I had to go and, you know, shovel it all up into the trailer and then move it, and you know, and then of course spread it into the garden and things like that. But you know, when I look at how much it cost me, and I know what it would cost me to just order mulch ready-made and, you know, have it delivered to my property, all combined, the mulch that I got and the mulch that I'm going to make, and all of my costs, including the rental for the chipper machine to grind it all up, is probably still going to be, you know, on the order of maybe like a fourth, or maybe even less than that, of what it would have cost me to have somebody else do it for me. And you know, this is one of those things where, like, even if you're making good money, a lot of times you end up paying like way more for things because you don't have time. So today there was another really great example of this. My wife and I are trying to get the water hookup on the property. It doesn't have water right now. We have well water, and a lot of the wells are dry. I'm going to talk about that in a separate video. A lot of the wells in the area are apparently dry as well, so there's a lot of people without well water anymore. They used to have water, and now it's gone. This is the kind of stuff I keep talking about, you know, in the live streams and you know, some of my other gardening videos, that you know, water is definitely getting to be more and more of an issue for a lot of people, and especially, you know, for people who are gardening. But eventually it's going to start affecting, you know, people who don't even know anything about gardening and don't even care about gardening. I really do think, like, you know, we are coming to the time in the next few decades where we will see wars being fought over water. I mean, it's a real serious issue. That's why I'm always going on about water retention with the mulch and, you know, everything else, and collecting the rainwater and things like that. What people don't realize is that the aquifers that we're using now, and I'm not talking about a little well in your garden, I'm talking about the big aquifers that are getting used up. Those take, you know, sometimes they filled up over the course of like tens of thousands of years, or at least thousands of years, and they don't fill back up at the rate that we're using them. So if you deplete them, you're out of luck. Like, it's going to take you potentially hundreds or thousands of years for them to fill back up, even if you stop using water from them altogether. And this is the, you know, this is the problem that I'm always talking about. So yeah, basically, you know, I'm trying to get the water connected, and there's, you know, a whole bunch of rigmarole and bureaucracy to go through, but you need to get a person who's going to come in, like a water, you know, connecting engineer or whatever they're called, and they make a plan, and then you bring that to the you know, to the water municipality or whatever, and then they you know, they'll like approve it, and then you can like get water connected in. And we got a quote from the first person we went to, and I thought it was like pretty high, like really high. It was probably like almost close to double what I remember the price, you know, should have been about, from, you know, when I checked around and what I knew from previous years of looking at this kind of stuff. And I know like the way my mentality was when I was working, like I would have probably just been like, well, you know, I don't really have time to poke around and get other offers and whatever, and you know, this guy's good and I'm sure it's like it's fine and whatever, and I would have just probably taken the offer. But instead, you know, my wife and I were talking, we're like, man, that's a lot of money, like, you know, we should try to get another offer. This is kind of like ridiculous. So 3 phone calls later, you know, maybe 10-15 minutes worth of effort, I got a quote from somebody for like just over a third of the price of the other, you know, the other guy's offer. So it's like, yeah, 15 minutes worth of shopping by, you know, calling somebody, then they gave me a number, they give me another number, and 3 phone calls in, I'm, you know, at a third of the price. And this is the kind of thing that like I know I wouldn't have done if I was like really busy and like at work, and you know, I'm like trying to do my work and like trying to take care of stuff for the house. There's no way like I would have wasted more time. I would have just been like, okay, whatever, go ahead and do the work. So now it's like I have the time and I don't have the money. So it's like I'm a lot more kind of conscious of where I'm gonna spend it. And yeah, so I mean, it's just one of many things that I've really noticed, that you know, I'm really trying to waste less, and we're selling a lot of stuff. That's going to be a real multifaceted benefit to us, because we have less stuff that we have to store, less stuff that we have to move, etc., etc. We don't have to build as big a house to store the stuff that we're not using. So we're really, you know, doing a lot of basically selling our stuff that we just don't need. It's kind of amazing how much stuff we accumulate. And the typical kind of like Western modern society that we live in, if you're watching this, chances are you live in a kind of similar, you know, situation. It's encouraged to, you know, get more stuff, just buy, you know, consume, and people don't give any thought to, well, yeah, you got to store that costs you money and time to build a place or buy a place that's big enough to house all your junk. And like, yeah, it's just kind of a crazy thing. So so there's a lot of stuff that we're trying to do to you know, get some money from that and also get less stuff. So it's actually a real beneficial you know, kind of thing. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all I really want to say, is just you know, to go back to the mulch. It's it just like totally made my day. This was a couple days ago that we actually got the mulch, but I just haven't had time until today to start, you know, building up the bed there. But yeah, I mean, like my brother and I were talking a lot, like while we were loading up all the mulch, and you know, it's just kind of amazing. Like I feel almost like guilty for like taking mulch from people, because it's like people just don't know what it's worth. Like they just don't understand it. It's like I almost feel like I'm like robbing you blind, and then you're telling me like, oh, thank you, like here's another pile, take this mulch too, you know. Like I've been like driving around collecting all these you know, branches and cuttings and the bags of leaves, and while I was like loading up the trailer, I had people like seeing me do it, and they were like, hey, I got some bags too, do you want to take these? It's like, man, you couldn't make me happier. And I'm just sort of like, wow, man, I wish people knew, you know, about this stuff. Of course, it'd be bad for me, because then they wouldn't give me the mulch. But, like, I don't know. I'm sharing the information with you guys. If you have a garden, get into the mulch. That's like, it's so awesome. So, yeah, I'll end here. I'll leave you guys with some clips from the garden here. And, yeah, see you in the next one. So we're expanding out the mulched area here. You can see I brought a bunch of cardboard. My brother hooked me up with some that he had been saving for this purpose. I took all the tape and stuff off the edges and made sure they were, you know, pretty much clean, and then going to be covering them with mulch. So I got a bunch coming with the wheelbarrows. I'm going to just dump it all here and then spread it around. I'll show it to you when we're done. Alright guys, nearing the end of the day here, but I managed to get all of the mulch over here and spread out. I've got roughly, I don't know, maybe about 4 or 5 inches everywhere. A little bit thicker here and there. Some of this will compress down with good rain or so, maybe 1 or 2 rains, but it's looking pretty good. This area is a little bit bigger than the one we had last year, and I really hope that we can actually make it even bigger. I still have a lot of stuff that I need to grind up, and then I'll have even more mulch. I'm going to take the bags of leaves that I got too and set them up over here on the raspberries and up front as well, so I still have to do that. But yeah, I think this is going to be maybe it for today. Maybe I'll do 1 or 2 bags of leaves, but yeah, it's looking pretty good. I'm pretty excited. I don't know, I would guesstimate this to be maybe about a 3 by 5 meter plot, something like that. So I don't know, maybe 8-9 feet, something like that. Maybe it's not quite 3 meters, probably 2.5, something like that. And then yeah, it's pretty long. The benefit of the mulch, I've talked about many times before. If you guys have seen my older videos, you'll know, but you can actually walk on it, and it won't compress the soil underneath, because it acts sort of like a sponge on top. And you also don't have to dig, so we're not disturbing the you know, the soil, insects, earthworms, bugs, all that kind of stuff. And you know, with the cardboard, it should help to kill down the grass underneath. Some of it will definitely still grow up, probably by, you know, midsummer or so, but it'll still be easier to keep it clean from weeds than if it, you know, didn't have the cardboard and the mulch on top. And also I didn't have to plow it. I didn't have to you know, grass it or de-weed it to begin with. So the less you disturb the soil, the better. You don't get seeds that may be underground brought up to the surface and then get activated. There's a lot of benefits. It helps with moisture retention, obviously, but also keeps the temperature more even for the plants on their roots. So there's a lot of benefits. I'll encourage everybody who's new to the channel, if you haven't seen my previous gardening videos, check those out, because there's a lot of helpful kind of tips, and you can see the results we got last year, which were quite good. I'm really hopeful that this year will be even better, so fingers crossed. So yeah, I just want to end real quick with a few shots here of just the flowering trees. This is the Japanese quince that I was showing you guys in the previous video, but you can see the whole thing has just exploded into flower now. It is just amazing. It's so beautiful. Then we got another little beautiful pink colored, I don't even know what that is. I thought it was another quince, but it seems to be completely different, maybe just some ornamental plant. You can see the cherries are in full blossom here. This dying cherry tree is in full blossom as well. So it's looking really beautiful. I mean, there's just color and vibrancy everywhere. It's really cool. So yeah, I think I'll just leave it here for you guys. Remember to subscribe if you're not signed up, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.